we are on space tech is seeking to have our apartments on Mars and agriculture on Venus. We are so much so advanced, and we have so much advanced technologies, starting from forecasting our weather years ahead, genetically modifying any objects, throwing a missiles thousands of miles, creating artificial rain, sun, moons, and traveling to planets. Even we are looking ahead to have our lands and house there on space and outer planets. But back on the earth, on our personal life, home, society, we have heart-related disease, CVDs, cardiovascular disease, are the major cause of death everywhere, every time. One person dies every 37 seconds in most materially and medically developed nation, United States of America, who have $3.6 trillion US dollar only for healthcare budget. About 647,000 Americans die from heart disease every year. That's one in every 4 deaths in US. Heart disease cost almost $219 billion each year to US starting from 2014, and around 6.3% of this budget increasing every year. And if we talk about global data, then the fact shows more terrifying fallouts, more terrifying results. The results of CVDs, cardiovascular disease, is more terrifying if we look globally. Heart-related disease are the number one cause of death globally. More people die from CVDs than from any other cause. So all other causes are behind heart-related disease. An estimated 19.9 million people died from CVDs in 2019, representing almost 32% of global death. And of these deaths, 85% are due to heart-related disease like heart attack and stroke. Out of 17 million premature death means death which are under age of 68 to 70, which are below 68 in some countries, and in some countries below 70. We can say in average it's like below 70. Out of 17 million premature death, it's like not mature enough, premature death, 85% are due to heart attack and stroke. This 17 million people died like prematurely, among them due to non-communicable disease. Among those non-communicable diseases in 2015, 37% were caused by CVDs, and every year this among death among non-communicable disease, 37% are due to CVDs, cardiovascular disease, and this death rate are increasing almost every year by 7%. This heart-related disease generally as referred like cardiovascular disease, generally referred as disorders of the heart and blood vessels, and they include generally coronary heart disease and disease of blood vessels supplying the brain, and then peripheral arterial disease, and then rheumatic heart disease, and um, congenital heart disease, and thrombosis, and pulmonary embolism, etc., etc. All these disease, all these heart-related disease and heart attacks and strokes are usually critical events and are mainly caused by blockage that prevents blood from flowing to the heart or to the brain. The most common reason we know yet for blockage that prevents blood from flowing to the heart and the brain is a buildup of fatty deposits in the inner wall of blood vessels that supply the heart or brain. Strokes can also be caused by bleeding from blood vessels in the brain or from blood clots, and globally, like medically known cause of heart attacks and strokes are usually presence of combination of risk risk factor like uh, using of tobacco, unhealthy diet and obesity, physical inactivity, harmful use of alcohol or like those type of alcoholic beverages, hypertension, diabetes and hyperlipidemia, etc., etc. This generally known most important behavioral risk factor of heart disease and stroke are unhealthy diets and physical inactivity, tobacco use, um, or alcoholic beverage use. The effect of behavioral risk factor may show up in individuals as like raised blood pressure, rise in blood glucose, diabetic condition, rise in blood lipids, or overweight and obesity. These intermediate risk factors can be measured in primary care facilities and indicate an increased risk of developing heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, or other similar type of heart related complications. Termination of tobacco use, lessening of salt in the diet, consuming fruit and vegetables, regular physical activity and avoiding harmful use of alcohol have been recommended medically to reduce the risks of cardiovascular disease medically. And that's how we recommended, or how doctors are recommending, how scientists are recommending us. In addition, proper management of diabetic, if we are in diabetic condition, then proper management of diabetes, uh, and putting that blood sugar level in control, and other like proper management of hypertensions and high blood lipids, or even uh, putting ourselves cool and calm. These things are necessary to reduce cardiovascular risk and prevent heart attacks and strokes. Health policies that create conducive environments for making healthy choice affordable and available are essential for motivating people to adopt sustain healthy behavior. But to our amazement, in most cases we have seen people following these recommendations and adopting medically and socially termed healthy behavior against cardiovascular disease are being uh, tortured or are being hunted by these types of death, generally out of cardiovascular disease. Politicians, celebrities, stars, businessmen, corporators, and general public with private gym for like their regular exercise and maintenance, private yoga tutors, and healthy diet maintenance in the kitchen, etc., are seen to be suffering more from some of types of CVDs to some level and facing the sudden death must. That what we have seen. From this, we have to understand that there is some underlying determinants which we are not thinking about or which we are overlooking. uh, Determinant factor of cardiovascular disease or heart attack, strokes, or the cause of all causes of this terrific death. This cause of the cause determinants of CVD, as we have researched and still it's unnoticed, is the propensity of cheating or the habit of telling lie. In practical day-to-day life, have you ever noticed what happens when you lie? Do we start to sweat or get little nervous? Does your heart begin to beat little bit faster? And furthermore, in scenario of cheated, knowing the fact, the person whom we are lying or whom we are cheating, if you gonna to know the fact, then or our lie going to get detected or revealed, what will be our position? Do we feel pain, or do you feel pain or discomfort in the center of the chest, or pain or discomfort in arms, especially left shoulder, elbow, jaw, or back? In addition, we may also experience difficulty in breathing or shortness of breath, feeling sick or feeling like spitting or vomiting, just feeling like dry in the lips and tongue, um, uh, feeling likely to drink water, feeling lightheaded, or even sometimes people get fainted if their lie is big and gonna get cats. Their lie gonna be revealed, and like we breaking into cold sweat and becoming type of pale, and more in women are more likely to have shortness of breath, nausea, vomiting, and back or jaw pain. And it's statistical research held globally using face-to-face interview, social media, phone calls, and feedback forms. Like we had prepared a questionnaire and was asked to 2600 males and 2600 females globally, representing all tribe, financial and social status, nationalities, and age between below 70, from 12 to 70. And 93% of the people says that they feel or observe one, at least, or more than one symptoms listed just we described above, where the lie is discovered or disclosed. They started feeling these symptoms. And if we see, these symptoms are prominent symptoms of cardiovascular disease also. All these symptoms occur more to socially, financially well-made people compared to low-income people. What our research shows is more the people is well-known in society, they have financially and socially and economically, or they are well-made people, then these symptoms are more prominent in them. These symptoms occur more to them. Uh, the most common symptoms of stroke or any type of cardiovascular disease can also be noticed as a certain weakness of face, arms, or legs, including all these whatever symptoms we detect, we feel occurs in us when our lie is detected or when we start lying. These symptoms are also symptoms of cardiovascular disease, like pain or discomfort in the center of chest, pain and discomfort in the arms, the feeling of likely to drink water, feeling lightheaded or breaking into cold sweat, becoming pale, and mostly in one side of the body. It happens mostly in the one side of the body. And other symptoms of sudden numbness of face, arms, or leg, especially on the left side, uh, and other symptoms like difficult in speaking or understanding the speech, difficulty seeing with one or both eyes, difficulty walking, dizziness, loss of balance, coordination, sharp headache, like severe type of headache, even fainting. These are like similar symptoms of our lie being detected, that body feels, and we are going to get some stroke or heart attack. It's very much common symptoms. It's like exactly same symptoms. Lying or the act of being deceptive, bluffing, or untruthful, being untruthful has become like part of our everyday life. It's like very common for almost all of us. It's not specific to one person or something like that. It's everyday life, everyone, in certain cases, certain time. It's like it might be jokingly or whatever. to save certain fallouts or whatever it may be, but it has become a part of everyday life in most of the people's life, with average person telling at least one lie a day, even without being conscious about the consequences. But few people know what happened inside their body when they lie, and how that reaction relates to cardiovascular disease. This research on heart disease and lying propensity was done to analyze the fact, was like prepared. This research was done by analyzing the facts, data, statistically driven reports, personal research papers, published research by different scholars, WHO reports, etc. We gone through all these things to show the parallel growth in the people's cheating propensity, people's cheating habit, how we are lying day to day, and uh, this parallel propensity between cheating propensity, parallel growth between this cheating propensity. Um, Cheating propensity may be to maintain our pride, ego, social, financial, or political status gain, or even to drive out like unlawful type of profits by fooling people in general, and the parallel growth in the heart related disease. This is how cheating propensity due to our conditioned different conditions, and the parallel growth in heart disease, heart related disease, cardiovascular disease. Lying is something that human encounters on daily basis. Um, uh, on this short talk, we briefly go through result we find during our study, what happened inside the body when someone lies, and what caused the heart to beat faster, or that feeling of nervousness in liars stomach somewhere here. We feel some type of strange feeling, and through this talk, we also hope to understand what drives people to lie so frequently also. We had prepared a set of questionnaire, and was asked to almost 5400 people, uh, yeah, almost like 5600 people globally, representing all tribes and financial, social status, nationalities, age, to find how often people lie in the day. And to our amazement, 72% of people accept that they bluff or lie at least two times or more often in a one-to-one or a group conversation in a week. And this tendency is more often when we are in group or in front of mass. When we are in front of mass, or a certain group is present in front of us, then this tendency is like more often. And 98.3% of people feel that they are always being cheated by politicians and businessmen, whereas almost 90+% of politicians and businessmen, they themselves don't trust their fellow politicians or fellow businessmen, and to our amazement, they don't reveal their heart with their fellow persons. That's what data shows. And from this stat, we can conclude with dishonesty occurring in almost 25% of one-to-one conversations, and 40% average in group conversation a person has in a day. Surprising how dishonesty, untruthfulness is increasing day by day, even without noticing it. And nobody is noticing this to like what's going on. It is easy to see how lying affects most people's lives by this statistical reports. Um, Even for me personally, one of my biggest pet irritation was being lied, or me lying others to handle the situation. And lying is not something that can be avoided easily, but knowing more about how and ways of lying will hopefully help us to understand we are so prone to deceive others, like deceiving propensity. So here here forward, we going to focus how lying is the source of all type of heart disease.